Hello, welcome back to this week's episode of Closed by Mo. My name is Mohammed. I'm hopefully your favorite YouTube host on most things real estate. I'm also a real estate investor and a broker based out of New York City. And in this week's episode, we're going to shift gears a little bit then compared to last week and actually talk a little bit more about some of the questions and the strategies that you have to be doing as an end buyer or seller when you're interviewing or trying to figure out which agent is going to be the right one for you if you are choosing to have an agent represent you in a purchase, sale, lease, whatever it is. A lot of these things might sound very high level, very basic, but I promise you I've run into many a scenario where a client or a potential client has felt locked in with the agent that they're currently working in when it was pretty obvious outside in that it looked like it wasn't the right fit. So I hope you guys do find this video helpful. Now, as they say, a lot of good in the world starts with a good home. Very much similar advice to when it comes to trying to find the right agent for you. That is, determine what your needs are. I cannot stress this enough. Whenever I do an intake call or a consultation call or even a discovery phase with a potential or new client, I always sort of ask them, well, what are you looking for? Like, what is it that you are trying to accomplish? And it's okay if you don't know 100% what you're trying to do, because that's what sort of partly is my responsibility here to help you figure that out. You should at least have some kind of a direction that you're sort of headed in, because once you figure out what your direction is, then you can sort of figure out what kind of agent is the right one for you. So for example, if you know that you want to be house hacking in a particular area, in a particular city, it doesn't really make sense to try and work with an agent that specializes in land sales or vacant lots or maybe parking lots, stuff like that. That is just an extreme example, but just so you understand the perspective that I'm sort of coming in from. For example, if you're a first-time home buyer, you typically would want to work with someone that specializes with first-time home buyers or first-time buyers. Or maybe if you're a first-time investor, you want to specialize with someone that's maybe a new investor or a first-time investor themselves, because that'll help you have more of a common frame of reference, because they'll know more about what you're sort of looking for without you even having to say it, because they've already been through that. They've already experienced it. Is it a requirement? Absolutely not. You don't have to have investment deals and a portfolio to be an investment agent or whatever it is, but it does help, and it does help you connect with other folks that are very similar. Now, the second bit of advice that I would give you when it comes to finding the right agent for you is look for someone that has local expertise. Now, again, a lot of this advice, take it with a little bit of grain of salt. It's not like something much of a Bible or a rule book that you have to follow to a T, but it does help when you have someone that has a local expertise in the area that you want to be investing in. Even if it's in the surrounding areas, at least they'll be able to understand what's going on in the market, and they won't have access to just the data, but also anecdotal experience from working and brokering transactions in that particular area, or maybe even a set of zip codes. The third thing that you should definitely be doing is check for their credentials as well as their experience. I cannot tell you how many times this has happened where I've heard horror stories of people saying that they've worked with a particular agent that turned out it wasn't really an agent at all. They were never licensed. Maybe they had their license a few years ago, their license lapsed, and now they're just out here representing clients, which they should definitely not be doing, especially if they don't have any kind of insurance to carry them or protect them. The reason I say this is because you have to make sure that you're protecting yourself as the end consumer, as the buyer, seller, investor, whatever it is, because you have to be the one to put your priority and your money, at the forefront. So always make sure you check for their credentials and check for their experience. It doesn't mean that someone that is brand new to the field is going to do a horrible job. Absolutely not. But it definitely goes back to to the first point I made about figuring out what your needs are. You might be someone that works better with someone who's brand new in the field because they're learning as you go along, as you learn as well, and that might be a good experience for you. Or you might prefer someone that has a ton of experience in the field and will just sort of tell you or advise you what you need to do based on their experience. It can go either way. Sometimes people don't really like working with those types of folks because they feel like they're very much like being told what to do and they don't have much free choice, or they're sort of getting pigeonholed into different options. But that's the case about checking credentials and experience. The fourth thing I would advise you do is read reviews and get referrals. Absolutely. I myself try to collect at least 2 reviews for every single transaction that I do, whether it's from clients, other brokers, the counterparty, whatever it is. I always try to collect reviews because it shows my skin in the game and how much I trust my process to know that folks will leave me a 5-star review. You can check all those out at closedbymo.com or just Google Closed by Mo and my Google page should be popping up. But it's very important for you to do that, because if you're working with someone or talking with someone that is talking the talk and is telling you, oh, they're so good at this, they're so good at that, but they have 0 reviews, they have 0 presence, they have 0 anything, and no one's even heard of them, then it might, it's usually not not like the biggest red flag, but it is something that is a little bit of a cause of concern for me, because where is the social proof that you're so good at what you do? The fifth thing that I always do is evaluate your communication and availability style. You want to work with someone that communicates clearly in the style that you want and is available at the timing that you're available to take a look at properties or whatever it is. The reason I say this is crucial is because you definitely don't want to be working with an agent that maybe doesn't communicate in the same style as you do. And it's not just saying, oh, you prefer texting and they prefer fax or email, whatever it is, just to give you a hyperbole of an example. But it's more so someone that sort of understands like where you're coming from and how to communicate with you. So for example, for me, a lot of my clients, I end up first talking to them, then we do like a chat, and that's where most of our texting will take biggest priority in terms of overall frequency. But for intense conversations, I'm always available for a phone call. I'm always preferring to do a Zoom so we can see each other face to face in a video conference. A lot of agents, a lot of brokers might not be comfortable with that. And if you're not comfortable with that, that's great. So you guys are a good fit. But if it's something that you feel like, hey, it's important for you to be able to work with someone that can communicate with you and is available at the same time you're available, that is crucial. Because let's say you're only available at specific days and times of the week, and they're only available in other specific days, times of the week. There's no overlap there. How are you going to be able to sell your property or go buy a property if you're not able to see it with the broker that you've hired to go see it? It's no bueno. It doesn't really make any sense. The sixth thing that I would do is ask about their strategy. Every single excellent or great broker will definitely have a strategy in place. It's a lot of times, it's a very same repeatable process that they've applied to other clients that has worked, it's yielded results, and it's gotten them to where they are today. So most experienced and reliable agents will not hesitate to share their strategy with you. Same way I do whenever I take a new client on. I always tell them exactly what the expectations are, exactly what my strategy is, what I'm going to be investing my time and energy in. So this way everyone understands what's going on. You definitely don't want to be working with someone that says, yeah, we're going to put it on the market, we're going to do an open house, and then that's it. Well, that doesn't really mean anything. Every single agent can do that as well. Like, what are you doing that's creative to get my my exposure out there for my property? Or what are you doing that's creative to get me deals for properties that I'm trying to buy? What's going on? Are you tapping into your off-market network? Are you tapping into anything there? The seventh and probably most crucial thing is ensure that you feel comfortable. I cannot stress this enough. You can be a great person and the other broker can be a great broker. They're great at what they do. But if you don't have that sort of positive vibe with them, or if you feel like, hey, you know what, you guys just don't have that spark, which is really important in any kind of relationship, then you might not feel super comfortable with moving ahead with them. And in my experience, I always advise clients, trust your gut, because I know I'm not the right fit for you, or I might not be the right fit for you, and you might not be the right fit for me in terms of clients. So why should we try and force a square peg through a circle hole? Everyone gets upset, no one gets the best experience possible, it's very mediocre at best, so you should always be mindful of stuff like that. And if you feel like, this person's a great agent or a great broker, but I just don't have that spark with them, then you should be okay with feeling comfortable to say, hey, I don't want to pursue this any further. A couple of other things you should definitely talk about, especially after the new law that was passed in August. Discuss fees and commissions. Always discuss that upfront. I'm always transparent with my clients about what to expect, how to expect it, what we're going to be doing in terms of how I'm going to be compensated, how the other broker is going to be compensated if there's another broker involved. This way, there is no confusion around things like that, and folks can decide for themselves if this is something that they want to keep moving forward with. And of course, one of the final things is ask about the broker's network. This is going to be a no-brainer to any broker that's been doing this for a few years and is doing it well. Their network should be your network. Your broker should never feel like, oh, I don't want to share any of my contacts with you because you might muddy the waters, whatever it is. That should not be happening whatsoever. The same thing I'll tell you is what I tell all my clients. My network is your network. If we're doing a deal together and you need help with anything, I will absolutely tap into my network. I'll absolutely recommend you contractors, inspectors, banks, whatever you need to help you get across the finish line. It's my job to help you do that, as well as after the finish line. If anything were to happen, my network is still your network. With that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode in terms of how to find the right real estate agent and what to look out for. I had a lot of fun making it. I'll catch you guys next week. Bye-bye.